So, the last one of these I did, I mentioned this kid I know that said, I'm richer than you. Because I'm 11 years younger. And I said, cool. And I even said, I know what's coming down the pipeline, meaning that the world is going to correct his course. And the next morning, I wake up and I see a news article that there was a robbery and attempted murder, actually, in Newport, and talked about the people having nice cars. Guess who it was? So I was just talking to people who know them today, and of course, the argument is, were they targeted from social media, or was it a random occurrence? And of course, in my universe, there's no such thing as random occurrence. Everything happens for a reason. So even if A plus B didn't equal C, like it still does. What I mean by that is they were putting out, these two guys specifically, putting out bad energy and using social media as a platform to do it. And of course, as I've journaled, I've learned that social media is essentially what I consider as a tool for the devil. That is why I'm off it. That's why I don't fuck with it. That's what I believe. Oh wow, that changed colors drastically. So, from my perspective, seeing this play out, I'm like, see, like I went through this myself, not like that, but trial and error until I figured out the energy you put out into the world is the energy you get back. If you do good in the world, you get good back. This wasn't a random freak occurrence. And if there are angels and demons and good entities and bad, you'd have to assume that the people robbing people at gunpoint are bad, have either bad entities controlling them or work for them or whatever. And those entities don't have permission to fuck with you unless you give it to them. They say in spiritual warfare that the devil's an expert at law. So, what did you do to let the devil in? And in the case of these young gentlemen, I can name a few things. Of course, this is from my perspective. And when he said, I'm richer than you because I have 11 years, I'm 11 years younger. It's like, well, in that 11 years, what I have is wisdom, knowledge. Knowledge is the past, knowledge is of the past, wisdom is of the future. And I called it in here not long before this actually happened. So I tried to journal about it yesterday, but I had to go somewhere. So, of course, in my head, it confirms all my beliefs, confirms everything that I've figured out how to keep my energy good and how to prevent, like things were happening to me where I'd go out minding my own business and something bad would happen. And I kept thinking, like, well, poor me, and why does this keep happening to me? And I'm not looking for trouble. I'm not, you know what I mean? I stay in my lane. I've never started a fight with anyone. And then if you look for an answer, the answer's there. So, of course, on the outside, I was an angel. I was doing everything right. But, sometimes there are bad things that happen to us that are meant for our growth and meant for our progress as a person, like canon events that's like this happens, or like if you lose a family member or a loved one or whatever. And then there are things like this. This is a warning shot. So one of the guys that I know got actually shot in the hat. He could not be here today. How much more of a warning do you need that you're on the wrong track? And I told the one that said, I'm 11 years younger than you, so I'm richer than you. I told him when he first started making it, I have the text message that the devil gives you money. It's not God printing the money, it's the devil giving you money. And you have to be careful what you do with it and how you present yourself, because he'll give you money if you influence people negatively. If you have them chasing the wrong things, and then if he gets you to chase the wrong things. And then guess what? You've sold your soul to him. For stuff, for status, for wealth, for cars, for watches, whatever. You've now sold your soul because you're selling other people this lie that fulfillment comes from that. And that is why the devil gives you things. The devil is the God of this world. It says that not just in the Bible, it says that throughout history. Lowercase g. He wants to be God. And anytime you worship anything but God, you're giving power away. So that's when you, like in my experiences, when I went to a concert, and even if I didn't get in a fight and if I was avoiding people or whatever, I got sick. Like I'm worshiping something. And the closer I've been, or the closer I follow my spiritual path, when I deviate, I get corrected immediately. So to the point where I know I did something and I have to figure it out. Now, the breadcrumbs that I've left on these things, anyone is welcome to figure out and find out and try it themselves. About alcohol, about drugs, about how you treat other people, how you treat money, how you treat enemies. And you tell me, if you follow the same path, if you cannot see the difference in your life and in the results in your life. Now, I didn't have like all of a sudden like a meteoric rise to fame and fortune. It's been a slow, steady climb with many times of me faltering because I would give my energy away. I'd focus on the wrong things or I'd lose my path, either trying to help people or sticking to the wrong things, the wrong people. But that's the reason I journal. Because when I look back, I get to see like this is how I was feeling at this time. This is what was happening in my life. And then figure out what changed. What made things better, what made things worse. Now, there's the Taoist concept of Wu Wei. Go with the flow. So in my last relationship, I feel like I forced it to be a relationship. She was obviously not ready. She hasn't figured herself out yet. And when you go to a therapist, they say, oh, you pick someone who reminds you of how you grew up and triggers your trauma, etc. But that's not, at least not all the way true. What happens is you will create that person into the image you have that lets you recreate your trauma. They're a blank canvas and the world is a mirror. So you're holding up a mirror to yourself, and what triggers you in someone else is pointing out something in yourself. This is the next step in psychology. Now, when you talk to a psychologist who tells you, oh, your ex is a narcissist, or these are the tools you need to get over it, or whatever, that'll get you to the next day, to the next week, to the next year. But fulfillment will be elusive. Purpose will be elusive. And of course, you will, like in my case, that type of psychology and therapy made me look at my ex and say, no, thank you. I can see that this will be a problem and I have enough problems. You know what I mean? And would say now, I mean, if I explain this to anyone, it doesn't sound good, but uh, she's in my life in a more regular way, but there's no even threat of relationship. She said we'll never be together again. And without that pressure, she's able to be herself. She's able to open up. She's able to also like show and receive love. Whereas when there is this looming, you know, I'm going to have to do this, I'm going to have to do that, she'd panic. And I saw that. Um, but from my perspective, like I've been journaling about it. It's like I saw all these signs and I know there's something here. It's different. It's not just reliving an old pattern. It's not me following unconscious behavior. Something's here. And now I hear her words that we'll never be together and stuff like that. And obviously, like that is a hard thing to hear because I can tell when she looks at me. I don't know if she feels that way. If I feel like there's something else going on in her head, but um, it's okay. The path of Wu Wei is the path of least resistance. So if we cut each other out of our lives, it feels unnatural. It feels like something's missing. But being in a relationship is not an option either, at least at this time, the way things look. And I was pointed so heavily towards this person that I thought, okay, this must be my person. But that doesn't necessarily need to be the case. It can just be that this person needs me in their life for whatever reason. Now I can hold space for her. Now I'm like, it's so weird. We're closer now than we were at any point in our relationship. The whole relationship, she's running away, pulling away. And then like there was physical intimacy, but the rest of it was missing. And now it feels like there's emotional intimacy, even though I know she's not saying everything. But the physical part's missing. And obviously, like I've been celibate before, I'm celibate now, and that part is okay with me. I don't have a problem with that. And the thing is, I believe the universe works in a way where I don't have to find the next person, the next thing, my soulmate. I believe if I'm doing the right thing, that person shows up. She'll be in my path. So whether I'm not gaslighting myself into thinking, oh, she'll change for me or some weird beta bullshit like this. My honest feeling is that she shouldn't be in any relationship until she becomes conscious. Not just with me, with anybody, because she will recreate the same scenarios where she gets profoundly hurt, triggered, because she's doing it to recreate the feelings of her past, which is, like feeling of a. So her saying, she said, I don't want to lead you on, will never be a thing. And then also said, your family, and I love you very much. It's like those things, obviously, like, it's like there's some conflict here, but when I zoom out and I don't just take my 3D reality and the things that I'm listening to and experiencing, because in the 3D world, hearing these things and not seeing a purpose to, or feeling a purpose to us, it's a very easy and normal thing to do, to cut the cord and just move on. Because I don't actually, worked very hard not to need anything or anyone in my life, but I cannot ignore the signs and synchronicities. I cannot ignore my intuition. Now, there happens to be possibly some family dynamics changing in her life, and the life of her family in general. And I sat here meditating, and a realization came that it's like, okay, maybe it's not what I thought. Maybe I am supposed to just be here. I think I can accomplish a lot more as a friend of her and her family rather than, thank you, Amazon, rather than from a relationship. Um, and of course, there's no accidents and everything happens for a reason and all this stuff. So it's, you know, a very big test to see if I can keep this person where they are in my life, to get the things that I want and need in my life, not expend too much energy, and be here for whatever higher purpose there is, which I believe, I know. Like I kept thinking, like, yeah, soulmates, whatever. It's like, but they do say your soulmate, your twin flame, doesn't necessarily mean it's a romantic thing. So, um, yeah, I feel like with all the things that I've learned, all the things that I've studied, all the meditation, I put pieces of the puzzle together. Like how this world works, why I'm here, what I'm supposed to do. Like, for instance, I was thinking of what's my spiritual purpose? Who am I supposed to help? How am I supposed to help? Other than talking to myself like this, which nobody's going to fucking see. Um, so I was out looking for spiritual community, spiritual people, spiritual fucking, like doing good in the world. Let me volunteer here, there, whatever. And those types of things, although I think they're good, I don't think they're necessary. Um, I find more fulfillment from going where, like, God puts me in the way of somebody that I'm supposed to help. So if I'm on the way to the gym and I see someone stuck on the side of the road, which has happened many times now, there's a reason God sent me and not someone else. So I take action, even if it's on the other side of the road, turn around, and I do whatever I can if there's something I can do. And nine times out of 10, I've been able to help. And those are the things. It's like, I don't have to open an orphanage and do all this. Like, it doesn't have to be a grandiose thing. I don't have to put my name on a building and, you know what I mean? Name this hospital after me. It's like, just be here. God does it. My higher self, whoever's in charge, will put me where I need to be. It's my responsibility to be conscious of it, aware that that's what I'm here for, and take action. That's the other part. Because our intentions, if you have good intentions and you never do anything, you don't get anything. You don't make a difference. You're not putting good in the world. So although your good intentions and a good heart counts for something, our actions matter more. So there are people that I hated or resented or, had issue with, but my actions spoke louder. And that's kind of like the same concept behind bravery. Bravery isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the face of it. It's not that you're delusional. It's doing the hard thing when it's hardest. Now, I saw this, this young kid making it, and I could see clearly these are the mistakes he's making. These are the spiritual mistakes. And then I knew that he's going to be corrected. I was like, it's going to be a lawsuit or something. I didn't know it would be like a life-threatening thing, but totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Robbed at gunpoint, took his, like, now they have his address. They know who his family is. They know where he works. Now my fucking life's in danger. These motherfuckers show up. They know there's money. They know they can get something. We work at an automotive shop. There's a lot of keys, a lot of cars. Um, and the reaction of everybody involved and people connected to them is they're all getting guns. Now the chance of someone dying in my, you know, it increases. If both sides have guns, then that's, I mean, it's like, even if I shoot someone in self defense, I just shot somebody. How am I supposed to live with that? Of course, there's like I met this religious, and he was talking about how when he drives with his Ferrari and the top's down, he has his hand in his backpack on his gun. He's like, I don't know who's going to roll up on me, and if my mission for God isn't done, it's like either you believe in God and you're fine, or you don't believe in God and you want to go around executing people. Just give them the car, it's fine. You have insurance. Let them have it. You will get it back. There's nowhere you can go. They will find the car, especially if it's a nice car. These dummies fucking tried to steal a yellow Ferrari. It's like, you're not gonna hit the freeway, dumbass. You stick out. They tried to shoot the dude over it. Shot the brim of his hat. He's this close. One of the kids. No one fucking listens to me. So, the world works exactly how I think it does. There's no demonic force that has power over you unless you give it to them. And the people who are super wealthy and celebrities and stuff like that, and the things that they buy and show you that this is the way. Don't you want to be in a private plane wearing fucking Prada and wearing this and wearing that? I don't know what the cool brands are. I'm sorry. Um, you chase that and you lose your soul. And then, guess who collects? Three masked gunmen are coming for your soul. They don't want just your shit. They're looking for a greater reward, which is your soul. And now, these guys just survived something, an NDE, near death experience. And something like this can traumatize you for life. So I was telling a friend about how the blah blah mafia extorted me in Spain at a club. And I told them, you have to kill me. I don't give a fuck how much it is. I'm not, and I knew I was going to do a chargeback. I was like, I don't care. I'm not, there's nothing you can threaten me with. No. Because I still have to live on this planet. And of course, like, sure, just give it to them, blah, blah, blah. Let me give you another example. I told someone about the story and how I stood my ground. Even after they fucked me up, I almost lost sight of my right eye permanently. They cracked the rib, and I don't, like, now I'm sideways. Like, I don't think it healed right. Um, and the only, they held my friend hostage until I paid. So to prevent traumatizing her, I was like, okay, I proved my point. No one has power over me. So the mafia boss guy, like, he was a scrawny guy named Borja, and he had me surrounded by the scariest people you've ever seen, and it didn't bother me. I didn't let it have power over me. I said, "You have to kill me. Are you prepared to?" And then they beat me up too early. They should have threatened me first. Once they beat me up, I was like, "Okay, I said you have to kill me. Now what? Now what would you like to do?" And just like fucking demons, it was demon rules. This fucking guy knows how it works. I have no question. I was in the lair with the devil himself. So he needed me to hand over my car. He needed me to agree to it. He wouldn't just take my wallet and charge it, and I had cash on me too. He didn't just take it because it wasn't money he was after. Energy. Understand? And because I was in the devil's house drinking his booze and fucking around with his people, I gave permission. I gave permission. And I can't explain it. I know that my consciousness is outside of my body because although my body was almost passed out, but I had awareness all around me. And it's almost like I saw in bullet time when I could see in the eyes of the men surrounding me that they weren't prepared to go to the next step. I felt super confident. I could read it clearly. And then when I'm one on one with who I think is the biggest coward in the room, the guy who has to surround himself with like men who can actually do things, I was like, "You're pathetic." I was laughing at him, calling him gay in front of his. I was like, "What's your name?" Borja. Borja. I thought it was faggot. And I got his bouncers to yell, to laugh. I had to like excuse himself. I was like, "Yes." It's like I was having fun with it. Never been in more danger in my life. But I know how this shit works. I had all these ideas in my head of how it works in this world. And I went specifically on a spiritual journey, just fucking wandering the earth. Like, God, teach me something. And I read all these things about spiritual law and giving demons permission and shit like this. And I made all the wrong moves to learn the right lesson. So that was like a canon event for me. I know without a doubt, how it works. I saw it, I felt it. So I was in the other dimension where I could see things that other people can't see. And I know from even the guy's shirt was mocking God. I was like, I know who you are. I know what this is. And you ain't winning. I felt so confident. I also felt like one of the bouncers was an angel. Like he was there to make sure things didn't go too far. And that's also a weird thing to read when your life is in danger. And my friend Amber was like, yeah, that guy, he made me feel safe. I felt safe around him. And he asked, when I was crying, he asked if he could hug me. I'm like, that guy didn't belong there. And I wish I acknowledged more. He was telling me at one point, he's like, I've seen this get a lot worse. Just pay them. I was like, I'd rather die. I can't. It's like, I'm sorry, you'll have to kill me. It's like, you'll have to watch someone die. I'm not doing it. I cried apologizing to the guy who wanted to kill me. It's like, sorry for making you do this. I apologize. But you have to kill me, motherfucker. I'm not living on this planet. Now, the example I was going to give is there's this. I told a friend, and they said, "Don't you have PTSD?" I was like, "That was my therapy, actually. I felt unstoppable after." It's like, "Oh, I get it. The spiritual world first. The physical world comes second. Follows." So she said that she had a friend who was at a gas station in San Diego, and he's a UFC guy, like MMA fighter, trains all the time, and three guys came up to him, and then when they pulled out a knife, he just started screaming and begging for his life as they beat him and took his wallet. And he wakes up in the middle of the night freaking out, sweating. He gave his power away. It's a spiritual test. It is a spiritual test. Life is. Everything in life is. And just like any test, you can get an A, a B, a C, D. I passed my mafia test. I think I could have done better. Obviously, I didn't have to be there. That would have been an A. But there's always a reward. Just like you get punished when you do something wrong, you get rewarded when you do something right. So it's important to see. So on that subject, to tie into something earlier, like I feel like the like undefined relationship, whatever it is with my ex now, is what it should have been. This is how we should feel towards each other. Um, Far less fear, obligation, you know, and far more open, not completely. But I believe that takes time, and I believe that just based on who she is, that she needs a lot of time and a lot of hand holding to feel, you know, she's never had a man in her life stay her whole life. We talk about like father figures, like who she thought she could trust, and how they, you know, people were after money or just didn't treat her right. And in this sense, this is how I see that God sent me for a purpose. Now, does that mean that eventually she'll feel comfortable enough to let her guard down and we'll be happily ever after? No. Is that an option though? Yes. I stopped praying for specific outcomes and just pray for the best result. Because I don't know what's coming down the pipeline. I don't know what, you know, I don't know what happens tomorrow. But I know that ultimately I will be in this life as happy as I can be. And I know that there's divine timing at work. So whether someone else is coming into my life soon or later, whether she has a bigger or smaller part in my life, it's when we resist the flow. So this relationship, we're exchanging energy. She invited someone. She had someone come to her house to like mount her TV, and she's like, "I don't want to be alone. Can you come here?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, oh wow, now she's trusting me to keep her safe. And I feel like when we were together, that's not something she would have asked me to do. I never saw her where she lived. I didn't know where she lived when we were together. Now I've seen it twice. It's like, you know, she sends me pictures of her furniture and stuff, and asks my opinion on stuff. It's just like, this is how it should have been. When we met, it should have been like this. But because there was this attraction or magnetic draw, put a lot of pressure for people who just met and have very different ideas of how the world works. We're on different traumas and shit. It was just a lot of pressure to just be like, yeah, go figure this out. It wasn't possible. I knew that at the time also. I knew that at the time because when I met her, I was like, you're 2 relationships away from me. Get your heart broken twice, see that you're the fucking problem, and then and then I'll take over from there. So, not to get like specific into details, but something's happening in her orbit that made me think, oh, I see how I could be sent here for this. And because I see that, it doesn't mean that has to be anything or the reason I'm around or whatever, but it starts to, the picture's becoming clear. And frankly, I feel like my needs are being met. When we were in a relationship, they were not. And although the idea of her being physically with someone else is not like ideal, I said from the beginning, if I'm not your person, I want you to be happy and I would be fine with it. Like, why would that change? And then also I said, when we broke up, I was like, she needs to date other people and see. Like, she doesn't know what she wants. And I'm not the average person. You're not going to run into anyone like me. So the qualities that I have that she, wasn't looking for, she ain't going to find again. And for better or for worse, I'm very unique. a kind, you know? Um, I'm the type of person I see more than everybody else. So now when I have a conversation with a kid, I'm richer than you, kid. I'll tell him the things that I've learned in the 11 years that he hasn't had. It's up to him to listen. Okay, this is how it works. This is what you did wrong. This is how I knew something was going to happen. And these people didn't have to know who you were or stalk you or whatever. You made this happen. You made this happen. Interestingly, I didn't know this. The next day, my new spiritual friend, his girlfriend got robbed in broad daylight. Now I'm thinking I should cancel dinner. Maybe we shouldn't hang out. There seems to be bad energy here. If you don't make your living off social media, get the fuck off of it. There's no reason anyone should know what the fuck you're wearing, where the fuck you are, who you're fucking, where you are, when you're home, when you're not home. What are you doing? The way I see it, this is how demons find you. They were actually through into your phone. And with that same phone, you're committing fucking all kinds of spiritual sins, right? You're looking at things you shouldn't look at. You're having thoughts you shouldn't have, whether it's jealousy or envy or anger, or you're talking shit on someone, you're gossiping. You know, maybe there's a connection there. Maybe. Does the dog agree? Did you hear that? Dog agreed. Was it another yes? So, my idea of how the world works, although I can add to it, I can be more specific and add layers to it. I can't take away things that I've learned. Because the things that I've learned, I've tested over and over again. And now I don't just examine my life, I examine the lives of other people. I see how they're affected. I see how people's own psychological trauma creates their new trauma. Like the young rich guy, his older brother's going through his own version of hell right now. I saw him today, and like when he looked at me, he just looked dead. Like he acknowledged me, but it was like, I'll call him after this. So what's up, man? Let's talk. Can you imagine trying to convince someone who all their thoughts are keeping money and being, shrewd, taking advantage of people's kindness, stuff like this, to get ahead, and convincing him that God wants him to be the opposite? Like, I think in his business partner situation, if he told them, hey, we're family, I don't want to fight, whatever you think is fair, I just want to resolve this so we can be a family again. And then say some shit like Alhamdulillah or whatever, so they feel like God is watching them. Stick in something a little bit manipulative. Then, what the fuck does this dog want? Then, If there's a God, he sees your actions. They will be punished for valuing money over their family, and he will be rewarded for valuing family over money, even though it would be hard for him to do. It's annoying when people don't have control over dogs, but maybe that dog knows something I don't. It's just some dumb motherfucker checking his mail with his dog, and the dog upstairs is freaking out that there's another dog, and he's just as slow as he fucking can. Like, what? How dare you? But also shut your fucking window if your dog's making noise, you cunt. Assholes. Oh, is it talking? Oh, they're laughing. Now they're friends. Is that how you meet your wife? Your stupid fucking animals hate each other? See? That dog is not happy. That was mean to say about the animals, but they are animals, so you know, in the big scheme of things, they don't have opposable thumbs or complex thoughts and emotions. Do you think dogs get depressed? They probably do, but not about existential stuff. Just like, I lost my bone. I went to dinner with my dad and a couple of his friends, and I talked about a song that I heard once or twice as a kid, a Persian song, so I didn't know the words. I was like, it sounds like this, and I sang the lyrics that I wrong that I thought it was, and he's like, no, these are the lyrics. Let me find it, and he found the fucking song. I was like, wow. I mean, maybe that's not as crazy as you think, but he's like, Persian music is amazing. It's all love songs until more recently, and there's like really deep, sad ones, but a lot of love songs, happy, upbeat stuff. And you're like, oh, those people, their music is like, I lost my donkey. He said that in front of my Latina girlfriend, and I cried laughing. And she was not smiling, which made it funnier. Did you lose your donkey? Why are you so upset? Those little moments are some of my favorite moments in life. Those are so rare. Or just the right thing is said, which is usually the worst thing you could say, but it's the right thing. Um, I was conflicted about being funny and being spiritual. Like, how am I supposed to represent or be godly and say offensive things, but also like the Buddha's always smiling. Just fucking, who cares? Make yourself happy, and then everything's fine. Can't worry about other people. So I last minute edited my speech at my sister's wedding to remove the abortion jokes, and I fucking wish I put it in there still. I just hinted at it, but it fucked my flow up. From now on, extra abortion jokes. I don't know, my nose is stuffy. I ate something I wasn't supposed to eat, probably. Dairy, maybe? They're still talking at me. Damn. Just get your mail and go the fuck home, sir. And madam. Another thing that happened today is I went to tune my BMW after supercharging it, And then it was clear from the first run that it needs more fuel. So I've waited fucking a year and a half to do this. Now I have to buy more parts and install them and get my videographer coming in. I fucking should have known. But the day ended early, so I was able to go make money. And then I feel like what happens in the day, if I see 888, it means unexpected money's coming. I also have like a, on my nail, I have these white dots, which means that I'm malnourished. But my dad told me when I was little, it means you're going to get money. And when they get close to the end, I always get unexpected money. Money. Um, Anything else? Things just seem to be flowing all right, you know? Nothing I can't handle. I might go to the gym again tonight. Everything's fine. Just my sleep. I'm confident in these bullshit caffeine drinks, protein caffeine things. I'm gonna take ZMA and melatonin before I sleep. I just need to make it through the night. I fall asleep fine. I just don't stay asleep. I wonder if my cortisol is fucked up. Anyways, you don't fucking know. Why am I telling you? All right, well, that's all the ideas I have for now. Um, I don't know if I mentioned this. I had on Friday someone that sells my or refers people to me was fighting with someone online who hates me. And the guy who hates me, I was like, well, I told my guy, I was like, give him my number, have him call me. Let's talk it out. And he was like, why? I don't need to call him. This isn't a big deal and blah blah blah. I just said this. I'm like, whatever, it's fine. And then the guy or shop that guy likes messages me and says, "Yo, call me." And I'm thinking, like, now this is you know, it's a turf war now. And I didn't call him. I was like, right now I don't have energy for this. And then on Sunday, I think I remembered, I was like, oh, I sent him a text. Sorry to bother you on family time. I've been busy. It seems like these two guys were arguing, and it's not a big deal. If you wanted to contact me about something else, let me know. And he said, "Can I call you?" I was like, "Sure." And then he wanted me to do a job for him. Like, this is essentially my enemy. So I was thinking, like, the whole time I was like, okay, if he comes at me like this is how I should handle it. No, you should be nice. If he says this, I'm going to say that. No, you should be. I got to alchemize it. And what could be more, you know what I mean, than working together? So essentially, my direct competitor paid me to help him, which has happened before. I'm like the people that hate me most in the world. If they called me for help, it would help. There's no question. Did you know Wichita is pronounced Washita? I just read it on this bullshit thing since 1871. Washita. I guess if it's a Native American word, that makes sense. Why would it be pronounced how I think? It's not English. Okay, so that happened. And then here's another thing. My boy Steve, he has not been busy. He's been in a relationship that's bleeding him dry. None of my jobs with Steve are going well. So like, we'll do one thing a month together, and we just had to refund it. Like, something's wrong with the car, and the guy's blaming us. But I checked and rechecked. It wasn't my fuck up. It's like, dude, it's you. It's energy. something you're doing, because everything going. He's like, is this a slow year? I didn't have the heart to tell him this is the best year I've ever had. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, it's you, Steve. I tell you to watch these and you don't, so it's your fucking fault. You're not learning. I don't think he's putting the right energy out in the world, and he knows that he doesn't want to end up with his girlfriend, but he's there. So when you're off your path, life gets hard until you make the change. And he's going to have to experience that in his own timing. Because every time he'll reach out after a while, he'll be like, girls are stupid. His girlfriend wants to be taken care of, and he's Jewish, so he's scared of that. What happens if something happens to me and I can't take care of you? You're going to leave? And, like, I am the type of person that I think first of all, I make enough money, and I like if my needs increase with a dependent or dependence, I believe the universe will match that. And I don't want my family to struggle, so I will carry that burden. Let me do it. You guys relax. You like do domestic stuff and don't bother me too much, and then hopefully raise the kids, whoever's kids they are, and then yeah, I guess not everybody's like that, but also like I've been used for money before. There's a lot of the culture here is very exchange energy for energy, and I live in this fucking fantasy world where love is a real thing, and it's not just convenience; it's love. And all the people in my past were in it for the wrong reasons. Um, and yet still I don't want to change who I am to be like, no, you have to put your skin in the game and shit like this. It's like I do want to take care of it's one of my love languages is taking care of the people I love. I'm very generous. But obviously if someone takes advantage of it, I'm like, all right, well, you lost that. It's weird that people tell on themselves. It's like just leave well enough alone. Really stupid. The people in my orbit have been incredibly stupid because they can't control their ego. And though I don't say anything, I see everything. I see fucking everything. So I know when people want me to perceive them a certain way, I know what the reality is. And under no illusions. I don't gaslight myself anymore. I don't go quite as far as I did after like my spiritual awakening and like a big mushroom trip or something. This poor girl was like fake laughing at everything I said. I was like, stop doing that. Why are you fake laughing? It's like, what? It's like, why aren't you a real person? Are you afraid I'll abandon you? Let's talk about your past. I was thinking she got triggered, and the trigger sounded like when Snake is discovered in Metal Gear Solid. Right? There's an exclamation point above her head. The world is mirror. If you want a soulmate, you have to heal your soul. Everybody's soul's fucked up here. It'd be nice is to meet, like my new spiritual friend. He's talking about manifesting and energy and stuff, but he doesn't know about the good and bad of spirituality, the pitfalls, the traps, the underlying rules of the game. And I just be curious having conversations like with Carl Jung. I'm confident he knew. With Rumi, I'm confident he knew. Those guys would be so cool to talk to. I don't want to talk to Einstein for some reason. I feel like he was a fraud. Apparently, he and Jung knew each other. Einstein said, reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. He also said space is finite but unlimited. Motherfucker, you're just saying stuff. The problem with the theoretical physicist is you can't prove any of this shit's bullshit. In theory, this is how it could work. It's like, you're just dreaming, you fuck. Tell me how it actually works. I can dream too. We live in a fucking. We live on the back of a space turtle in a bubble. Prove me wrong or I'm right. All right, I am running out of stuff to say. I'm tired, so I might go to the gym again, and maybe I'll reach out to the guys that got robbed and not necessarily correct their behavior or tell them what they did wrong, but just wish them well, you know. And if they decide, I'm sure they're being bombarded. What a weird thing to happen to people you know. Um, what a weird thing to also realize that they asked for it. I hope they learn. Okay, off I go. Khoda to her face.